So today I wanted to do something that's totally different than anything that I've done on this channel before. And, I figure it's my channel. I can try out different things. And so in general, this has been a channel that's been dedicated to fitness, health, wellness, and it still is. But I wanted to do this little series called Ask Beverly Hollywood Stories. And I have worked in the entertainment business for like the last 30 plus years. And so just little stories that I have about it, and also how I first got my job in the entertainment business. And so, yeah, I'm gonna talk about that today, and then we'll just see how it goes. So, as I said, I've worked in the entertainment business for like the last 30 plus years, and I'll start with how I got my first job in entertainment. I'm from LA, and before I got the job in entertainment, I was living in San Diego, and then I moved up to LA, and I was staying on the couch of this friend of mine, this guy, his name is Troy. Thank you, Troy, who kindly let me sleep on his couch. And that's where I was sleeping, and I didn't have any money. And I think I was waiting for my sister to move up there, and then we were going to get a place together. But until that happened, as I said, I didn't have any money, and he kindly let me sleep on his couch. And so I was there, and I was looking for a job, and I remember him saying to me one time, Bev, you should go down to the Urban League and see if they have any job listings there. Okay, wait. This is just completely, I'm taking a little detour because it has to do with Troy. This is how at least LA used to be. I don't know how it is now. This was a million years ago, right? But the apartment complex that he lived in, there was this woman who was his neighbor. This is a little side story. I'm sorry. But there was this woman who was his neighbor. And you know how you see your neighbor in the hallway, if you live in an apartment and you say hi and bye and that's it. And maybe you chat a little bit, right? They probably chatted a little bit in the elevator. And so one day she says to him, oh, I know Michael Jackson, I'm friends with Michael Jackson. And I remember him telling me he thought, like, this woman is crazy, right? She has to be crazy. She's my neighbor across the hall, and she's saying that she's friends with Michael Jackson. And I don't know if it was that day or another day, she invited him into her apartment, and she had all these pictures of her with Michael Jackson. And turns out that this is the woman, her name, I looked it up, her name is Debbie Rowe. And I guess he was maybe married to her for a while, but she was that woman who was a dermatologist, and she worked in the dermatologist that Michael Jackson would always go in there. And this woman was his neighbor. Isn't that so weird? Like just a random story. Anyway, that's the way, I don't know how Hollywood is now, but that's the way it was. And so anyway, back to how I got my job. So he had suggested that I go down to the Urban League and apply for a job. And so I said, okay. And maybe I had my little resume. I think it was 20 years old at that time, and so young. And I wanted to work in entertainment. I didn't know anybody in entertainment. And what you find in the entertainment business is a lot of people, are the son or nephew or daughter or whatever of somebody who works in entertainment. I didn't know anybody. I had no inside connection whatsoever. And so he had suggested I go down there. So I did, and I had my little resume. And I remember meeting with the counselor and the person who's trying to help you find a job. And I remember her asking me, what's something that you would like to do? And I said, well, I really would love to work in the entertainment business. If I could just get a job, an entry-level job as like a runner or, delivering things, something like that, that would be great, if I could find something like that. And I remember her saying to me, just this morning, I got a job listing for a runner for a film producer. It was the same day that I went in there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so interested. That would be great if I could get a job interview. And so I think how it worked was she sent over my resume, and they called me in for an interview. And it was really exciting for me because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know nobody. I didn't have anybody in the entertainment business. And so my interview was at the Warner Brothers lot, which is in Burbank. And that was exciting. And again, I haven't been on a film lot like that in a long time, but how it would work is that they would tell you which gate to go to, and then they would leave what was called a drive-on pass for you. And they would have your name at the gate, and they'd give you this drive-on pass, and they would tell you where to park. So here I am, all looking around. I'm on the Warner Brothers lot. It's very exciting. And so I went there for my job interview and I met with the woman who had placed this ad, and her name was Myra. And then the other person I met with, I think his name was John, and they were both the assistants because he had two. A lot of producers have two assistants. They were the assistants of this film producer. And she was the one who had put the ad in the Urban League. She was this Black woman who worked in the office. She was a little older, beautiful, smart, really kind person, very much like a mentor to me, honestly. She was really lovely. And so she was the one who had put that ad in the Urban League. And I remember I had the job interview and I thought that things went well. And I remember her telling me, I put that job in a listing in the Urban League because I was tired of being the only Black person in the office. I was tired of being the only person of color, so I put that ad there. And she is the reason why that even came about, that intersected for me. That was my entry into the film business. And so I got this job, and at that time, we were on the Warner Brothers lot, and we weren't there for very long, because I think this producer had a deal with Warner Brothers. And so sometimes what happens is they'll give a producer a office on the film lot, right? And so in this case, it was Warner Brothers, but it wasn't really a very nice office. Generally in the film business, it's going to be like a super nice office. This producer was a very kind man. He was very frugal. He was a very frugal man. He did not pay well, at least not that runner job. But, I'm forever grateful because that was my entry into the entertainment business. And so we ultimately moved our offices from that office in Burbank to Studio City. And we were in temporary office space while we were looking for our permanent office space. And this temporary office that we were in was right across the street from the CBS, I think it was called CBS MTM lot, which was on Radford Avenue. If anybody lives in LA, it's on Radford. And all these TV shows were filmed across the street. And again, fun fact, this is how like the entertainment business works, like this. And I say that because the man that I work for now, I met him and his sisters and all of them all those years ago when we were in that temporary lot, because his brother is an actor and comedian, was on a TV show that filmed across the street. And that is how I met him all those years ago. And I didn't start working for him until years and years later, but I met them all the way back then when I was working for this other producer. So that was my first job. I would deliver scripts. That producer had this film that he was trying to sell. And it was like, I remember, you guys, it was like these big film reels. And they were in this like metal case that had handles, and there were two of them. And it's literally the film that you put on a projector that you would show in a movie house. And I was taking those all over LA, all over Hollywood, and because I think he was trying to sell this movie, and I lugged those big, film reels around, and I deliver scripts. And one time, like I remember, you would deliver scripts to actors, or you would deliver scripts to other studios, or whatever it was that they needed. Sometimes I would pick up lunch, or I'd pick up bagels a lot of times in the morning for breakfast for the office, that sort of thing. And one time even, I remember I was delivering a script to Chevy Chase, the comedian and actor. And it was just such a weird delivery, trying to find his house, and it was just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and he was driving past, and I remember flagging him down. Anyway, so that's what I did. That was my first job. I was a runner, and the lowest man on the totem pole. That's what I did. And I really enjoyed it. I got to know LA. I got to learn all the back roads and how to work around traffic and all the canyons and all of that in LA being a runner. That's how I learned my way around after moving back to LA as an adult. So, anyway, if this interests you, I'll be doing, I don't know how often I'll do it. I don't want to say once a week because maybe it won't be once a week, but I'm just going to share these little tidbits, these little stories that I have, and people that I've met, actors that I've met. And also, I was an actress for a while and kind of what that was like. I'll just share those stories because I think they're kind of interesting. So if this interests you, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be the first notified when I record another video. I mean, the next video might be about menopause. I'm just trying to say it, I can't really call it. I'm a little bit of a mess. So anyway, I thank you so much for spending time with me and watching. And until next time, guys, take it easy.